Well, hello there, guys, and welcome to another video. It's Saturday. I'm dressed really casual. I actually haven't even showered yet today. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, but I just wanted to update you guys, kind of let you know what was going on. So, my initial plan was to do like an FAQ type of video for my next video on this channel. You know, ground versus express, how much money I make, what hours I work, things like that. I'm going to save that for my next video because I want to tell you a story. This is something that happened to me. And it happened at work, obviously. So it is work related. But on a personal note, obviously see I did get my hair cut. And you can see it in my face. I can really see. When I lose weight, I always lose it in the face first. I can see it. So I am down about somewhere between, depending on the day, because I swim myself every day. Depending on the day, somewhere between 10 and 13 pounds. So I do realize that most of it's water weight. And I recognize that and I understand that. So I'm not expecting 10 pounds to continue. The doctor told me the plan is 8 pounds per month. So I'm a little bit ahead right now, but again, a lot of that, I've pretty much stopped drinking soda cold turkey. I limit myself to like 1 can a day, and I drink pretty much all water. So I think a lot of it's because of that. But anyways, guys, I wanted to jump into a story. And one of the biggest job hazards associated with anyone who delivers, could be DoorDash, could be Instacart, UPS, USPS, FedEx, anything, right, is dogs. Okay. And we have training. We go through a lot of training modules. I spent 3 days on a computer watching videos for 3 straight days when I first started. And one of the videos was dealing with dogs and more specifically aggressive dogs, and what to do in those situations and how to handle aggressive dogs, things like that. So generally, FedEx's rule is that if we pull up to a stop and there's an aggressive dog on the grounds, we have FedEx's permission to not deliver the package. So having said that, I got a story to tell, and you can probably already guess where it's going. But long story longer, I was delivering a package on Thursday, and I got bit by a dog, and it was not a pleasant experience. And to be completely honest, the hospital visit after the dog bite might have been worse than the dog bite itself. So I'm going to talk about it. So I'm going to give you guys kind of a breakdown of what happened and kind of take you through the process, just in case you guys are curious how that works. And we'll go from there. So I'm not going to tell you where I work. I'm not going to tell you the location I work in. But my express station is at an airport in a pretty big area, right? It's a pretty good sized town, and we deliver up to an hour out. So in this particular instance, I was about an hour away from our station, and so it's the middle of nowhere. And in this location, it's a lot of farming community. It's a lot of any sort of town is more of like a farming town, if that makes sense. If you're from the Midwest, which I'm from, you would understand what exactly a farming community is. So this community that I was in, I think the population, I don't even know if it was an official town, to be honest, but the population is probably less than 100. And so the town, or the street that the house was on, there were 4 or 5 houses in a row. And I think that was it. That was pretty much the whole town. And there were a couple businesses and implement dealers and things like that, but pretty small area. So I pull up to this house, and there were 2 dogs on property. Okay. So there was one dog that was on the driveway and came up when I pulled up and greeted me, right? Tail wagging, happy to see me. Everything was great. There was another dog that was actually over on the other side of the yard, and he was barking at the neighbor kids who were outside mowing the lawn. He seemed harmless. He was just barking, right? So I made the decision to go ahead and try to make the delivery. Now, when I'm parked, there's actually, the garage is in front of me, and there's a walk-through door right next to the garage. And there's a note on the door that says, please put packages inside this door. All he had was an envelope. It was like a document. So I walk up to that garage door. I set the envelope, I leaned it up against the door. I stepped back to take a picture because we take pictures of all of our deliveries. And by this point, I can't hear this dog. I don't know where he is. I can't hear him. I can't see him. I don't even know if he knew I was there. But I turned toward the truck and I looked to my left to see if I could see the dog. And all I saw were two beady little eyes poking out from underneath the bush. I'm not 100% certain what kind of dog this was. Okay, but he was black. So he blended in with the bushes really well. Didn't really see him. It was kind of a cloudy day. No, I don't really remember. But all I saw were his eyes. And as I turned and I looked at him, we made eye contact. So maybe that was the first mistake. I don't know. But we made eye contact, and then I started walking toward the truck, and he came running. It wasn't really like a full run. It wasn't like a sprint. But he came running toward me, and he started growling. And he growled, and then he barked, and then he lunged. And so, I don't know if I said this, but I'm 99% sure it was a pit bull. So, the other dog was like it was like some sort of like collie mix or something. I mean, super sweet dog. So, he lunges at me, and he lunged 3 times. So, I'm walking back. I'm trying to get back to the truck, right? The whole time he's lunging at me, I'm walking back to the truck. So, he lunges at me, and I don't think he got me the first time, but the second and third time, he got me. And I'm telling you, he got me. And it was bad. I got down about halfway down the driveway and he backed off. He must have some sort of rules that he can't go past a certain point past the driveway, because he only got about halfway down the driveway and he backed off. So I was able to get to the truck, and I was able to oh shit, here we go. I was able to assess the damage, and wasn't good. It wasn't good. I couldn't really see how bad he bit me because it was bleeding. It was bleeding very, very badly. There was literally a trail of blood on his driveway. I mean, it was only half paved. The rest was rock. But I saw a trail of blood as I was sitting in the truck looking out. I could see the trail of blood walking to the van, to the truck. And so I'm looking at my leg, and I got blood dripping down my leg. And I don't know how bad he got me because I can't tell. I got so much blood, I can't tell how bad he got me. So I get it kind of cleaned up. Now, FedEx has obviously FedEx Express branded vehicles, right? But at our station, we have 5 or 6 rentals, and they're just basically like a transit van. So there's no markings on them or anything. They're not equipped with what you need for the day. Generally, I mean, they have some stuff in them, but we have road flares in them. We have triangles in them, but we don't have any first aid kits. Our normal trucks have first aid kits. So there's no first aid kit in this truck. There's no paper towels. There's nothing. There was a box of Kleenex. So I was using the Kleenex to try to stop the bleeding. Because before I was going to proceed anywhere, I wanted to make sure I wasn't bleeding anymore, as it was making a large mess, and I wanted to keep things as clean as I could. So I'm sitting there trying to get it cleaned up, and trying to figure out what I'm supposed to do. My primary focus was, let's get the blood to stop. Right? Let's just get the blood to stop bleeding. Get these cuts, and then just kind of assess them and see where I'm at. So as I probably sat there 10 or 15 minutes trying to get the blood to stop. And once it stopped, I was about ready to leave, and I watched the owner pull up. Right? The owner, he must have been out coming home for lunch or something, because he had food with him. And he looked like he was in a work truck. So he pulls up, and I asked him, I said, hey, my window was rolled down already, because I had my window down the whole time. I yelled out the window, I said, hey, is that your dog? And he just kind of looked at me. And I said, I just want to let you know he bit me twice. The guy didn't say anything, didn't ask how bad, didn't ask if I was okay, didn't offer me any help, nothing. Just walked away. Which tells me that his dog has bit people before, because he didn't care. So I actually proceeded. I went ahead and I drove to my next stop. And I made the delivery. And then I went to the next stop after that and made that delivery. But before I made that delivery, I reached out to my boss. My boss was actually running a route, but I texted him and I said, hey, I need to know the protocol for a dog bite. So, took him a couple minutes to get back to me, but he gave me a phone number to call, and he asked a couple questions. And so I went to this house and I made this delivery. Now, this last delivery that I made, they had a dog. Super sweet. I think it was a lab. I love labs. I will never back away from a lab. I love labs. Labs are not aggressive at all. They're great dogs. And so he was a lab, and he ran right up to me, and I still have blood running down my leg, and he sniffed it, and then he started licking around the wound area. So he obviously sensed that I was hurt, and that's why labs are great. So I mean, I think pretty much any dog would have sensed that. But so I made his delivery, and then I get in the truck, and my boss had texted me a nurse line, a corporate nurse line he wanted me to call. It's like a triage nurse line. And so he asked me a question about, is the bleeding stopped? Do you get any stitches? How bad is it? Blah, blah, blah. And so I respond to him and I said, well, the bleeding stopped. I'm going to try to finish her out. Right. At this point, I think I had 40 stops left, and I think I had 4 pickups I had to do. So basically 44 stops is what I had left. And so I called the nurse line, and they collect information, find out what happened, any details that I had, et cetera, et cetera. And then she asked me questions about the cut. Where's the cut? How bad is it? So this dog, he got me twice. He got me in the back of the calf, and he got me in the back of the thigh, right above the crease of the leg, like where the knee is. So I saw the one on the back of my calf. I could see that one pretty good. The other one is in a really odd spot that I can't really see it. So what I told the nurse, I said, I got one on my calf, and I got one on the back of my thigh that I can't really see. And I said they're both bleeding pretty bad, or they were. And the one on my calf still was, because I wasn't really able to stop that one because I couldn't find it. I was just kind of dabbing around the area. I wasn't really, don't know if I was actually getting the cut, but she told me, based on what I told her, that I needed to go basically stop what I'm doing and go to the doctor. And unfortunately, the doctor that I'm supposed to go to was in the town where our station is located, which was at that point was an hour away. So she's like, I need you to go to the doctor within 2 hours. I told her that my plan was to finish the route and then go to the doctor at the end of the day, because where she wanted me to go was an ER, so it's going to be open all night anyway. So I could have just gone after work. I told her I was going to go finish the route and then go to the ER when I was done for the day. And she said, well, okay. I mean, that's better. That's better than not going, I guess. And so that was how I proceeded. she gave me some information, etc., told me where to go, and then that was it. The night manager had called me while I was on the phone with the nurse line because he was at the station, and he had heard that I got bit but didn't know any details, so he wanted information. So I called him and we kind of talked about it, and he asked me what I wanted to do, and I said, well, I've got 40 deliveries and 4 pickups to complete yet, and I really want to get them done. And he said, well, your safety is number one. Your safety is absolutely of paramount, and they're just packages. They can wait. We'll take the hit. It's not a big deal. We want you to be safe. So you need to do what's best for you. If you decide that you want to finish a route and go to the ER later, that's up to you. Because I told him what the nurse line had said, and ultimately at the end of the day, he's like, well, what are you going to do? And I said, okay, I need you to be a manager and tell me what to do. That's simple. Because if I was a manager, I would be telling my people what to do. And I've been a manager before, so that's what I would be doing. So he said, okay, I want you to come back and don't worry about the route. So I drove back. I drove back the hour to go back to the station and park my truck and go to the ER. When he saw the cuts, he told me that I was absolutely crazy for wanting to finish the route. So I ended up going to the ER. I spent 4 hours there. I got there about 2 o'clock. I got discharged at 6:30. Now, the absolute worst part about this whole scenario is that, there's a couple worse things, but number one, we don't know the vaccination status of the dog. I didn't bother to ask the guy when I saw him because I wasn't thinking about that at the time. So I didn't ask him. And so we don't have the vaccination status of the dog. So that was one of the things that the doctor asked me, was whether or not I knew the vaccination status of the dog. And I said no. So she recommended 2 things. Either number one, we file a police report and try to compel the information. Or number 2, she just gives me a rabies vaccine and a rabies shot. And I just said, you know what? I'd rather be safe than sorry. Just give me the rabies shot. I regret that decision now because that rabies shot, I don't know if any of you have ever had a rabies shot, like after getting bit by a dog. It is absolutely the worst thing. It is diabolical. It hurts. It is so bad. So what they do is they actually stick the needle into the wound, right? And that part doesn't hurt. And then they inject the medicine directly into the wound. And not only do they just stick it in and inject it, they have to go around the outside of the wound. So they're poking and prodding it, in this case, like probably 8 or 9 times per wound. And I have 2 wounds. So they did it twice. And it was the worst. The one on the back of the calf, it was really weird because when they washed them out, the one on the back of the calf didn't hurt. The one on the back of the thigh just absolutely. What the hell is the problem here? Lights keep shutting off on me. Gotta go with this, I guess. The one behind the thigh absolutely hurt when they cleaned it. And I don't really understand why. When they gave the rabies shots, the one on the back of the calf hurt 1,000% more than the one on the back of the thigh. So the PM manager was texting me, and he asked me if getting the rabies shot was hurt more than getting bit by the dog, and I said 1,000%. I'd get bit by a dog again before I get on the rabies shot. It was terrible. It was terrible. So, long story longer, moral of the story, don't get bit by a dog. And then get a rabies shot, because those are terrible. Now I have to go back to the hospital on Sunday, which is tomorrow, and get another, because I got the vaccine as well. The vaccine is a 4-part shot. So I have to go back to the ER in the same town, which is 45 minutes from me, tomorrow to get another vaccine. Like shot to the vaccine. I can't do it locally because they don't have an affiliated ER here that I can just walk into. So we have an ER in town, but it's not affiliated with them. So that sucks. So I went to work on Friday and I made it through the day. I kind of feel like maybe I shouldn't have worked on Friday, to be honest, but I did. I went to work and they ended up not stitching. They ended up not stitching them, and they said it's because a dog bite, when you stitch it, has a higher chance of infection if they stitch it. So they left it open. They left it up to me. They said if it wasn't a dog bite, they absolutely would have stitched it. So I have like a 2-centimeter laceration on the back of my calf, and I have a puncture mark on the back of my thigh. So they did x-rays to make sure he didn't get tissue. He didn't. Very, very bad experience for me. And when I was delivering yesterday, I checked every damn yard 4 times before I got out the car. I was like, I'm not getting anywhere near a dog today. There was one delivery I made where there was a dog out in the yard, but the owners were there too. And he ran toward me, and the owner was standing right there, and the dog ran at me. And he's like, oh, he just wants to say hi. And that's all he wanted, because he came up to me and wagged his tail and, got all happy up in my face. Like, that's all he wanted. But I was just like, PTSD, I got bit by a dog yesterday. So the dog running up to me it's not good right now. But there was another house I delivered to where the dog next door wouldn't stop barking at me. So that was kind of, the whole time I'm sitting there thinking, I really hope that he's strapped in good. Like, but, so that was my dog bite story. And really wasn't fun. The second thing that pissed me off is that I'm at work yesterday and I'm doing my checkout to go home. And the evening manager comes up to me and tells me that I'm only going to get paid until the time I drove back to the station. So the 4 hours that I sat in the ER, I wasn't going to get paid for. And that made me mad because I wouldn't have gone to the ER if they hadn't told me to. I wouldn't have. I would have stayed on and worked. So that made me, like, I got to the station at like 1:50. That's the time they punched me out. And I was at the ER till 6:30. And I told both my supervisor, who's the morning supervisor, and the afternoon supervisor that I got done at 6:30. And I expected to be paid till 6:30. And they said they reached out to HR. And HR told me that I only get paid until I get back to the station. I don't get paid for the time I spent sitting in the hospital. I was really upset about that. It really made me mad. But everything's workman's comp, so maybe I can figure out a way to get those 4 hours in the workman's comp. I mean, it's dumb. It pissed me off. He did tell me that he would give me 4 hours of sick pay today to compensate. But I think they'd probably catch that on the HR side, so they might not like that. So that's my dog bite story. So I just kind of want to share that with you guys, and they wanted me to try to keep it covered. Oh, so I go to work yesterday, and I don't have it bandaged or anything. I had neither side bandaged because I was trying to get some air in there. They didn't really want me to keep it bandaged longer than past Thursday, so they said maybe Friday, but then Saturday leave it open is what they told me. And so I went to work and I'm getting ready to leave and I look at my leg and I got blood rolling down my leg on Friday morning. So I stick a Band-Aid on the spot behind the calf, on the back of the calf, because that's the one that was bleeding. And then I drove 45 minutes to my first stop. I was on a different route. It wasn't the same route. It was 45 minutes in a different direction. So I drove 45 minutes to my first stop, and I get to my first stop and I look down at the floor underneath me and there's blood on the floor. Now the one behind the thigh is also bleeding. So I had to cover that one up. And I had to change with Band-Aids yesterday on each site twice. Because they just, and then this morning I took them off this morning and they're still, I don't know why it's still bleeding. I don't think they're bleeding right now though, so that's good. But that's my story. I just wanted to share that with you guys. It took longer than I thought to get through it. But, other than that, everything's going well. I got them en route yesterday, 81 stops. Got back. I took all day. I was slow moving in the morning, as I kind of figured I would be. Once I had a delivery at Walgreens, so I picked up some more Band-Aids. And once I kind of got a good cover on them, I was able to kind of pick up my speed a little bit because I felt comfortable. But the Band-Aids that the hospital gave me, they just kept coming off. So I wasn't able to get them to keep stuck. But I went to Walgreens and got some the Band-Aid band ones. Say that 10 times fast. Band-Aid brand ones. And those stuck really well. So they hurt coming off this morning. They hurt. So they were really stuck. But yeah, I just want to share that story with you guys. I do plan on making another video. I know I said it'd be weekly. I had a rough week last week, so I didn't get a video in last week, but this will count as my second weekly video, even though it's been almost 2 weeks since my last video. I plan on doing another one end of next week. Q&A probably with some general questions. So again, if you guys have questions, I haven't gotten it yet. If you guys have any questions, please drop them below. And that's my story. Be safe out there, guys. Watch out for dogs. Don't get a rabies shot. That sucks. It's like the worst thing in the world. Anyways, be safe out there, guys. And remember, it's a great time to be alive. Peace.